I gotta ask you, Hugo and Eunisses, the city council of LA is like rife with corruption. There's like crazy amounts of corruption. I've only lived in the city for a few years, but I learned about former council member Mitchell Englander, who's serving a federal prison sentence for receiving bribes. Council member Ridley Thomas supporting millions of dollars in public contracts for USC in exchange for getting a scholarship and paid professorship for his son. The council member Cedillo in your district, Eunisses, his son, Cedillo's son, got a job in a municipal water district, even though he had no experience in public administration. Like, do you guys want to how do you people who are working on the grassroots who've done actual really amazing work, this is such a corrupt body, not all, but it's like, how does that make you feel, and why make a run at these seats, and at city council?
Yeah, I mean, it makes me incredibly angry. I mean, as a lifelong Angelino, you see, I mean, someone who is organized with immigrant women and dishwashers and cooks. And, part of the organizing work that we do is we visit them at their homes. We get to know them very intimately, their kids, and we build these really deep relationships. And so you see the effects of a very powerful person and how it affects a person's life, right? And so, I'm very proud to say that Eunisses and I are not taking any cop money, any fossil fuel money, any developer or corporate money, because neither of us are working for them. We are working for the people. And I think one of the mantras that I've learned in the union when you organize is how do you take a group of workers and you defeat a corporation in order to win a union contract with wages and healthcare and all the benefits that you get with a union. And you do that by building power. Mm-hmm. Right, you build enough power in the community where you have collectively you have more power than the corporation. And so our slogan is community power, because we're going to take an organizer's approach to the work that we do in the district. We're going to recruit people, we're going to train them through the process, because when we take that seat, we're taking it for them, and we're going to build more power than the developers and the corporations that are currently funding the incumbent that I'm going against. And so that's that's how I feel, and that's how we're going to change it. It's just take an organizer's approach to city politics.
Yeah. So in a way, getting buy-in so that people actually, because I feel like it's like, this stuff happens under folks' nose, and that's because we're so disconnected from our city council members, and we're so maybe even used to that kind of corruption on that level. Sure. Eunisses, what's your vision for this city that is often on fire and full of traffic, homeless population going up, folks evicted from their homes? Obviously, we know, especially now with all kinds of things running out, whether it's eviction moratoriums, student loan forgiveness back on, or ending at the end of the year. What is your vision if you were to, and if you're not on city council?
Great, thank you. So we're gonna put it on the universe when I'm on city council. What the vision is, and I'd like to start off by just saying that I was gonna be a cop, and that I got my bachelor's in criminal justice because that's what I thought that I was gonna be, and then during getting my degree, that's when it shifted where I can't change the system, and so after school, I struggled, but I ended up doing policy work. But my work is driven because of a lot of the lived experiences, right, that I saw growing up, and that's what dictates my policy. That's what dictates my values. I'm a values driven person in what my vision is. When if the decision or policy that we're moving forward is going to leave someone behind, we're not doing it. If the policy or decision moving forward going to build something we have to destroy in the future, we're not doing it. If it's going to the decision or movement going to give more money and more power to the systems that we're trying to dismantle, then we're not doing it. And that really causes and it challenges us to find alternate, solutions that we can implement. And so my vision of an LA city is that there's one, housing for all. So implementing policies such as enforcing tenant protections and creating more permanent supportive housing. Hugo mentioned it earlier. The most visible piece around someone being unhoused is, perhaps their mental health or substance use, but really it's this financial economic drivers that are 60%. Loss is saying 60% of people that are houseless right now are for financial reasons. What are we doing to stem this arterial bleed of people just not being able to afford the housing, right?
Yeah.
And so housing for all. The second piece is what I'm calling care not cages. So when we have mental health crises of harm or violence, intimate partner violence, that we have life affirming responses when you call the number, that it's not someone that shows up with a gun, but someone that really knows and has been educated and has dedicated their education to learning how to de-escalate situations. Just one example. And then the last piece is around budget accountability. Our
Mm.
budget is billions and billions of dollars. When we talk about the general fund, that is money that could go to anything, and it's billions of dollars worth. Why are we not deciding through a democratic process what that money goes to if we're the one paying taxes? When you pay your property taxes, when you go to the store, all of that should be our choices. So for me, it's an LA city where we can all plug into these pieces, where everybody's housed, where our money goes to what we want, and where the responses to our most hard times, crises, are life affirming.
Mm-hmm. Mm. I love it.
Damn. Pretty
Damn.
good, I'd say. You guys seem to be pretty good with answers.
Well,
Thank
we've
you.
tried to trick them. I don't know, Gareth. You got a good gotcha question?
Well, can I just say that it's amazing that, because I do think when it comes to mental health and, how we take care of people with mental health issues, it's fun to talk about Nancy Reagan and her status as the blowjob queen. Because you think of the other side of that coin was Ronald Reagan was the one who was deciding to remove program after program, which were there. It wasn't that long ago
Mm.
that there were places where there was a differentiation between a quote unquote criminal and someone who needed mental help.
Mm-hmm.
And my question is, how crazy is it that the things you two are saying are so foreign that they've become such foreign ways of running, when you are saying I am going to be there as an actual reflection of people? I mean, and that message is almost difficult to get out. How much of a hill is that to climb?
I have a lot of hope, because this has been, over 50 years of concerted attacks, neoliberal agendas, against the working class. Their first attack was to try to destroy the labor movement, because I still believe that is the best vehicle for larger systemic change. But in Los Angeles, right, there's a lot happening. The labor movement made a conscious decision to organize undocumented workers in the late 80s. It was very
Mm.
concerted, and there was a lot of division in the labor movement whether we should even do that. And so I'm very happy that my union was one of those unions that said, no, we are going to organize undocumented workers, because that is the incoming workers in the city. That has been going on for over 40 years, about 40 years now. And so we've come to a point where the labor movement is meeting, right, the movement that was started. I hate to give Bernie Sanders a lot of credit, but that's sort of sparked a lot of flames in people, right? And so you have a movement, a labor movement that is about 40 years mature, with a budding, amazing grassroots organizing that's happening in the city. And so I think what Eunisses and I both represent is a marriage of those two movements, and I think this is the first time that those two movements are coming together. And I think we can be the standard bearer for the country. I think there's a lot of progressive cities in the United States, but I think what we're doing in Los Angeles is absolutely, groundbreaking, and we're going to set the standard. And hopefully, as opposed to having the SWAT team be part of national policy, we're going to pass progressive policies that we can transplant to the rest of the country.
I love that, and you can always give Bernie Sanders credit on this show. It's Tio Bernie. He deserves it. I do want to ask you more about those barriers, like which industries or people are your campaigns like kicking the hornet's nest of? Like what kind of like sort of like cash filled, sort of a nest is getting up worried that you guys are running?
Well, I mean, I think to start off is the budget piece, because right now, although there's billions of dollars, because it's been unwatched, many of these departments, particularly carceral departments such as law enforcement, have been sucking absorbent amounts of that budget. And so when we talk about, funding the things we wish to see, which is access to supportive services, permanent supportive housing, and using our money to do it, it's going to require us to move some of those general funds. And I expect that folks will not be happy about that. But what folks have to understand is that there are ways that we can actually transfer jobs out of this system of harm into the supportive system. During in the environmental justice space, they have something called a just transition, transferring like oil dirty jobs, to clean energy jobs. Same with the carceral system. Our goal at the county level through the coalition I work with at Justice LA, or that I'm a part of, we've been trying to close down Men's Central Jail. If we close down that, when we close that jail down, we want to push to transfer those jobs into building out this alternate system of care. And so I feel like law enforcement special interest groups, perhaps other unions, but I think what Measure J has proven is that there's a way where we can marriage that, where we can have that, collaborative partnership relationship to really get to what community needs. Because even right now, labor is a part of, the implementation of Measure J. So I'm hopeful, and Ugo's part of the labor movement, but pushing to close down jails to invest in community has not been something that everybody's super down for.
Okay, one last question, because we got to move on to our final segment, but I do want to ask you about Mayor Garcetti, who is leaving office at the end of next year and is going to be the ambassador to India because he does yoga or something. Like, I really want to know what that fucking conversation was like with him on the phone with like Biden. It was like, do you know what a downward dog is? Like, what the fuck? Like what was it? Anyway, so Garcetti's leaving. We will have an election. And we've got, on the one hand, a guy named Rick Caruso who owns a mall here called The Grove, who wants to run for mayor.
It's a very diverse mall for people who don't pay attention to LA.
Yeah, very diverse. There's like a Claire's Accessories and a Hot Topic.
That's right, exactly.
JK, it's got neither of those things, I think. Way too working class for the Grove. So this dude wants to run. There's a number of people, but also Representative Karen Bass, who's the former chair of the Congressional Progressive Black Caucus, or the Congressional Black Caucus. Also, who's seen as a front runner. Any thoughts on this mayoral race coming up?
Yes, real quick. And Hugo, I'll pass it to you. But I've heard a few of the candidates speak, and I really think that they need to get their ish together. I think that candidates are jaded AF, right? Like they're tired of these promises, but there's clear policies, clear recommendations of what they could do to address houselessness without criminalizing folks, without sweeping them, without sweeping encampments. And so for me, who's at least paying attention and a voter, like I need them to step up on speaking more than just these platitudes of like empty words, and like, no, what are the solutions? I want to hear, are you just going to sweep encampments, or what are you really going to do? Because there are just too many clear examples of what the alternates are to really humanize folks and support them, rather than just what what people are doing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would add, get involved, pay attention, do the work. This is the first time that our mayoral race are lined up with the federal elections. And when Eric Garcetti got reelected, he got reelected with 20% voter turnout. So voter turnout is going to be in the 20%. It's ridiculous. Yeah. It's going to be in the 60, 70%. And I would say that the soul of our city is at stake. We have rising fascist wing, that is emerging here, and they're using the homeless as a scapegoat. And then you have folks like Eunisses and I who are bringing, these values of love and compassion in the community. And so we're going to win out. If people like us win, it's going to be a new direction for the city. And so, yeah, get involved, pay attention. You got to do the work. Democracy is not a spectator sport.
Hell yeah. Thank you both for being on. And how can we get involved or find out more about your campaign? Eunisses, what's that website?
Website is myname.com, EUNISS.com. Follow me on Twitter. We need volunteers. We need you all to donate. If you want to host a fundraiser, let me know. There's a huge reporting deadline at the end of December. And so we need as many people to plug in, and we're a part of the matching funds program. So if you live in LA, anything you donate between anything below $114, $114 is matched by the city times 6. So yes, please plug in, donate. Thank you.
Oh, shit. I did not know that. Wow.
Yeah,
Everybody
and,
donate. And Hugo.
yeah. Our website is Hugo. It's HUGO. The H is silent. 2022.com. Our handles on social media is Hugo for CD13. Likewise, that's where you can donate, volunteer. We're not taking any conflicted money, so we're doing this 100% grassroots.
What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/Bitchuation Room. Do